my name's Gary Turner. I'm your host of this right here, right now, live exploration. And what's it all about? It's one simple question. What's on your heart and mind right here, right now in this moment? We just explore with curiosity, with open-heartedness, and with a real desire to better understand one another. Really exploring the depths and breadths of our humanity through that one simple question. This tune, Kaleidoscope, was created for me by the amazing Peter Griffiths, one half of The Mind Takeaway. Hey, welcome everyone to the Right Here, Right Now live show. And guess who we've got? We've got the Chris Lovett. How are you, mate?
I'm doing very good, Gary. Yeah, it's a pleasure to join you on a warm Friday afternoon.
I love it. Well, I'm just making sure I don't get too much of that echo if I'm too close to my mic. You're the musician here. I might need your help, Chris.
So, no, I was just listening to the hold music that you've got and the countdown, and I was like, I can definitely tell he does love a bit of dance music, and that comes through in all of the tunes that you've selected for your creation. So yeah, that all comes through.
Oh, bless you, mate. So, for those that don't know you, right, obviously we know this question's about that one question. We're going to come back to that in a second. But as we get going, like, who is Chris Lovett? Like, give us a quick lowdown. I love, by the way. Actually, let me pitch you. Like, don't let Chris pitch himself. If you're watching this live, or you're going to watch it back, this is the book you want to go and buy. Discovery of Less by Chris Lovett. Now, you might want to explain in 2 minutes what this is all about, and then we'll ask the question.
Yeah, oh, thanks, mate. I love to see it. All the pages are still intact, which is great. You've not ripped it up and thrown it out yet. Yeah, Discovery of Less is basically, you can get to know me in that whole book. It's my journey from about 2016 to 2017 of reaching a point where I found that all of the stuff that I'd surrounded myself with during my life, all the physical, digital, mental stuff that we just collect over a period of time, was actually holding me back from being the person that I really wanted to be and do the things that I really wanted to do. And so it's a fun journey of decluttering your life. So there's a little bit of, how I sold pretty much everything I ever owned, which is a quite disruptive way to live, and the consequences, both positive and negative, of that action. So yeah, so it's a little bit of I suppose you'd probably call it a weird memoir with a bit of a comedy slant on it, but I hope that does it justice, Gary. I mean, I think you've probably finished it now, so you can probably
That's Chris. This is the book. Go get it. Hey, Rich Cooper. So good to join us. Thanks very much, Rich. Good to see you, mate.
Mr. Cooper.
And hi, Lisa. South Africa. Thanks for joining us. Yeah. So testament to Chris, what he's done. And I think I really want to pick up on something. Actually, man, I don't want to take over. What, Chris? Right here, right now, in this moment, what's on your heart and mind, without too much bias from me sharing your book around?
Well, that one. That's that one again, just in case people didn't see it the first time. Well, this is on my mind a lot because I'm thinking about number 2. So I've had so much positive feedback off the back of this book that things are starting to evolve, things are starting to happen, and I had a feeling they might. So when I first went out and started to talk about this story about decluttering your life and decluttering the things, everyone can relate to it because we've all got stuff, generally the physical stuff, and people are really, really intrigued. Like, how can they adopt a part of this into their personal life or professional life? And so people have finished it in like a couple of days or 3 or 4 days, and they're like, so what's next from you? And I'm like, well, hold on a minute. It's taken me 18 months to put this together. And so I've now almost put that really good pressure on myself to almost go, so now what? And so now that platform is there. And so, I'll be doing a bit more speaking. I've got a speaking gig at the Kent Wellness Festival in a few weeks' time, which will be the first time I've spoken in person since COVID. So it'd be lovely to actually spend some time talking with people in real life. And then, more of that, more writing, and also what you'll love, Gary, is that I've reconnected with my music. And because I've created so much space between my work, my side business, that music got lost a little bit for me. But I've reconnected with, discovering new music for me, not for any other reason, but for enjoyment. So so that's great. So anytime I go in the car, I'm like, I've got a playlist, I've got some great tunes, and it takes me to another level. So so lots of things going on at the moment, Gary.
Oh, I like it. You might hear the dog coming in a minute. If so, I'll go quickly onto mute, but that's pandemic life. What I'm really intrigued by, you said next book you're already thinking about? And is it almost like following on the theme of minimalism? Is it going a different direction? Is it too early to say? What's going on there?
Yeah, what I found during writing this first Discovery of Less book was that there isn't really any direction in there. There's a lot of storytelling and there's a lot of fun in there and a lot of the stuff that I did, but there isn't a lot of me teaching, or there isn't a lot of me giving a lot of advice. And I purposely left that out because I always believed that we're intelligent enough to intelligent enough to.
This is when your whole wife and a dog and everyone piling in. I love this life, honestly.
Yeah.
Carry on, mate.
Getting involved, good. So I was very conscious that I didn't want to be that guy who said you should do this, you should do that, and I don't want to be that person at all, because I genuinely believe that we've all got enough inside of us to make good decisions based on information that we see and hear, and this is just a load of information. So, but what I found is that some people do want direction, and some people need direction. Because if you think of all the other things that go on in life, Gary, you think of, we want to work out, we want to lose weight, we want to go somewhere. These are things that we can achieve, but there's stuff in the way. We don't start. And sometimes the reason why we don't start is because we haven't found our motivation yet, or we haven't found anyone to confide in, or we haven't found that special list of 10 steps to take. So that is what is in my head, and I've kind of got a bit of a skeleton plan that doesn't really give people everything, because again, I'm very much like, make your own mind up. You're creative, but it will give you a good platform to go ahead and create your own minimalist journey. So it's going to be on the way, and it will take a lot less time than this one did.
It's so cool, right? Because already I'm joining the dots between what you're sharing, Chris, and I love you said earlier on, like you're starting to get into your music again because that space between that desire maybe that's inside of you, but you actually engaging with it was blocked by stuff, whatever that stuff was, whether it's mental, whether it's physical. Do you want to speak a bit more about that? I'd love the audience to sort of learn what specifically was your blocker with regard to that particular intervention. I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, well, since the book's come out, obviously there's been a lot of activity around promoting it, and what I've found is when you start putting building blocks in place, you'll see the action or the success 90 days, 100 days, 110 days in the future. So obviously when this come out, I was like a little runner trying to go here, there, and everywhere, and then 3 months later, everything started to happen all at once, and I was like, I've gone down that rabbit hole again of doing too much. I changed jobs, I changed teams, I entered a new talent academy, I've got into that. This came out, I had my birthday, I was travelling around the UK, we were looking for places to live, and I'm like, I've got to stop again because I've just fallen into the same trap that I had done like all those years ago by doing too much. And I think that's what makes me still relevant, because I'm not perfect at all, but I know the signs, and I'd found that I hadn't listened to any music for weeks and weeks and weeks, and my walks in the morning when I was walking Daisy the dog, they were consumed by learning, which is great, right? I was listening to you, I was listening to everybody, and I was like, I'm learning so much, and I was like, but there comes a stage when you've got to enjoy it. You've got to, rather than learning for learning's sake, you've got to just switch off. And so I went back to music and I'd realised that there had been so much new stuff that had come out and stuff that I'd forgotten about, and I just enjoyed it all over again. So it's really important to take that time away from the hustle and bustle of life to enjoy the things that really make a difference in your life.
I love it, Chris, and I love where you went with that, right? Because for me, I know exactly. I totally empathise with that. You know, you can almost. It sounds ridiculous, but you can overlearn. Like I listen to podcasts all the time, always doing this, always doing that. But like that's still blockage, yeah. Even if you're learning something, at some point it can still become a blockage to maybe that version of you want to be, or that conversation you keep saying you want to have but you're not. I just love that self-awareness piece for you, that like you realize after your book all about minimalism came out that you're starting to be non-minimalist again, but you were more aware of it maybe than you were before. And I think that's a really brilliant point.
I mean, I'm at my mum and dad's at the moment, hence the decor. I wouldn't pick this.
Right? I thought it was yours. I didn't want to say anything.
No, so I'm at my folks at the moment, and one thing that they continue to say is, I feel like I haven't done anything today. They're both retired. They probably work harder now than they ever did. They're out in the garden. My mum bakes all the time, right? And my mum was like, "What shall I do?" And I was like, "Sit down, put your feet up, go and have a nap, like, watch something on TV that you want to watch." Like literally, there is that point where doing nothing is vital for you to reset and to go again. But they're on it all the time, and sometimes I have to just have a conversation with them. And I was like, "When are you going to sit down today? You've been on your feet for 12 hours. You got up at 5:30. Just put the ironing down and go and have a cup of tea." So yeah, and that, I was in that mentality of looking around, going, "What can I fill all this time with? I've got to spare 45 minutes. What can I do to fill it?" And sometimes just sitting down and relaxing is the best use of your time, and that's what I found. So I do that. I try and do that a bit more now.
It's really interesting that, because one of the things, there's people in my life, some quite close to me, some sort of in my network, Chris, that sometimes it can be scary. Sometimes we fill that space intentionally because we don't want to have space to just sit in that moment and allow whatever that story is that we've been suppressing by being busy to come up and us have to deal with it. Does that resonate with you at all, with this sort of journey as well?
Because I'll talk about FOMO and JOMO in the book, and it comes up all the time because we feel that we need to be doing stuff and we're going to miss out. If we don't do this thing, it won't happen. Or we don't go and see that person today, it's never going to happen again. And but we've got to accept the fact that we're never going to be able to do everything. And I kind of accepted that fact years ago. And, I sometimes forget, because even when I'm at work and I have a spare half hour, I'm looking for stuff to fill. Who can I email? What can I read? Sometimes the best thing to do is just log off. Just log off, go and sit down. And then when you come back half hour later, your mind is clearer, you have more clarity, you can think a little bit differently, rather than continuously consuming stuff, or scrolling, or because we've got so many distractions now that it's easy for us to fill the void with a quick scroll or put the news on or whatever. So to actually step away from that is probably now more difficult than it ever has been. And so stepping away, relaxing, getting good sleep is a skill, and something that I'm trying to help a few more people with by this whole movement of less. You don't need to do everything. Some of the stuff you've got lined up that is on your to-do list, some of it you probably don't need to do, but it's having that bravery to cross them off before you've attempted them.
Bravery, I love it. Richard's just popped down there, filling 1 hour meetings.
Classic. I've had, how many times have I had that this week?
Cheers, Rich.
Yeah, and there's another one as well about respecting people's time. And I'm working on I'm coaching a client at the moment, and her issue is communication. And I was like, "Well, talk to me about how you want to communicate." Obviously, we're talking about less is more, right? And what tends to happen is people will fill the 1 hour meetings, but when you get right to the end of the meeting, someone will have a question and they will probably say something like this: I know we're running out of time, but can I ask just a really quick question? The question will be super long, keep everybody back, right? And then they'll have to rethink over and over and over again just before they log off and go on to the next one. And so it's a little bit about how do you respect other people's time. If you've got that question, just wait, because it clearly wasn't that important because you would have asked it in minute 1. So yeah, lots and lots of little intricacies that always link back to less for me. And so, going on this journey is not just about a personal journey of getting rid of stuff. There's so many little avenues and threads you can pull on that help from a professional angle as well.
I think it's brilliant. I'm going to give it a little wave again. Discovery of Less by Chris.
Thank you, mate.
No, it's amazing, because the thing I really love, I think this is really the point I want to share with anyone that's watching live or watches this back. I love the strapline, Chris, how I found everything I wanted underneath everything I owned. Right. And there's something, it's a beautiful, beautiful statement, that, because when I think about, I wrote a poem for the first time in my life a couple of weeks ago.
Yes, really amazing.
No,
are we gonna hear it? Are we gonna hear it?
No, not. It's somewhere else. But it's out there. It's out there. It's got my voiceover. It's out there. But this show's about you tonight, mate, not about me. But thank you for the invitation. But what's really powerful about what you shared there, though, is if you take the time to feel, not just think, but feel that statement, it's really quite profound, because what's underneath the story you're telling yourself? Oh, freedom. What's underneath the belief that you need to have that next job title to show that you're worthy? Oh, you're already good enough. This is it's a really deeply profound statement if people allow themselves to sit in that, how I found everything I wanted underneath everything I owned. Because we're already good enough. We're already worthy. And you speak to that brilliantly in the book. But I'm really grateful for you writing it, because it actually is a reminder. It was a reminder for me that actually my biggest challenge with having a more minimalist life is it's always a self-worth thing for me. I still keep coming back to it. Don't think you're good enough. Why me? Who are you to do it? And that's probably my biggest challenges around where I fill up with stuff, because then I get busy again, then I want to read another book, then I want to meet another 10 people, because then I think at some point that's going to mean I'm good enough. And it's like, Gary, you're 45, mate. You've been doing this for 5 years. I'm picking this shit. Why can't you just get over it? Well, like you said, it's a practice. Yeah, it's not a one and done.
Oh yeah, I mean, we're really good at moving the goalposts.
Yeah.
When's because the goalposts they have on the crossbar it says enough, and when we get to enough, we push them off a little further and go, well, actually that wasn't really enough. Over there's enough. And whether that relates to volume of activity, your salary, your job title, and things like that, you keep moving it and moving it and moving it and moving it, thinking that when you get to the next set of goalposts, that is when I hit success. That is when I hit happiness and all that stuff. So everything what we just said there, Gary, resonates, and yeah, but we're really good at moving the goalposts. But I do love the fact that you picked out that subtitle. That took me 5 minutes to come up with, but then I realised, because I thought that's not good enough, and then realised after a few days that actually good enough was good enough, because I could keep searching internally for weeks and weeks and come up with something, and that was good enough, and so that was time to leave it. But yeah, thank you. If you want to, there's loads of layers in Discovery of Less, even on the front cover, but they just happened organically. So yeah, you think about even the colour. We're going in deep now into the. I had this all planned as a book club, but you can get it all now. The colour. No, it's all good. The colour. We were thinking about the colour. The less being in yellow, the shelves, the logo, the subtitle. It was all thought about intentionally. If you would have seen some of the car crash covers that I had before, you'll be pleased that was the final one. But yeah, there's lots of layers in there. But yeah, we are professionals at moving goalposts.
Oh, that's such a such a gold dust statement. You know, again, what I really love about that metaphor is, you know, it's very visceral for people. Anybody that even has a remote interest in sport of any type are going to be able to really feel that. Oh God, yeah, there I go again, pushing those goalposts back.
Well,
Back.
the Olympics started today. I've just been
Yeah,
watching 4 hours of an Olympic ceremony, so so yeah, it's top of mind at the moment.
that's so cool. What I'm really interested in is what comes, like, bearing in mind you're in this space of less is more, like going with the flow more. And by the way, I've got to come back to that a second, because for anyone that may or may not have picked up on what Chris just said, the thing that I found most profound, that's got a lot of layers, came to Chris in 5 minutes. So Rich will really appreciate this point. It's like, it sounds like you was pretty much in flow at that point. You weren't going like, oh, what's the right way to do this? What are the words? Actually, let me replay it, all of it. It sounds to me you weren't very much in your own way at that particular point in time, Chris.
Yeah, spot on. And that's how I wrote most of this. But I didn't realise the best way for me to get the best out of myself until I started writing this. So, you know, when you listen to other experts who've been there before you, you know, generally they would say, just keep writing, just keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. You might find a block, just keep going. I was doing that, and I was ended up writing loads of old shit and then deleting it the following day. And I was like, well, that was a complete waste of time. So I stopped doing it that way, and I only wrote when I felt creative. So whether that was 10 minutes, an hour in the morning, I could feel the ideas coming, and I went straight to the laptop and wrote stuff down. Then I left it. So everything I had was when I was at almost like at peak performance, not a 6 out of 10 or a 7 out of 10. It was 9s and 10s. And that could, you know, I got really good feedback from my editor, who could tell the difference from draft 1 to draft 3, I think it was. He texted me to say, you know, I'm blown away by this final draft. And if you compare, I'm never ever going to release draft 1 because it was an absolute nightmare. But I needed to go through all of that way to realise that wasn't the right way for me. And again, you know, coming to how we learn and how we perform professionally and personally, and how we do things in life, you know, we all have our own way. So that is, again, coming back to, that's why I don't like to give a lot of a list of things to do, because you'll find your own way. So yeah, it was, most of it was written through on flow state, in flow state, out of flow state, in flow state.
Navigating flow
Whenever
state,
that zone is. In that zone.
But what I'm picking up on again, though, Chris, right, which is really interesting for me, because I'm doing a lot of work at the moment, sort of reimagining what organizational design could be like. And I truly believe one of the biggest shifts, and I think you just spoke to it powerfully, is we need to not only think our way to the next iteration or product or way of being, we do need to feel it. And you said when you felt those ideas coming, you stopped, you opened your laptop. Yeah. You didn't think those ideas were coming, you felt them.
Yeah, something happened, you know. I would look around, or I would be listening to something, and something would pop up. And it's having that ability to recognise that something's come up here, get it out as quickly as you can, and let it breathe. Because I've been in my, I think I might wrote it into the book, the notes section on my phone. It used to be a list of stuff I wanted to buy, useless stuff like another pair of shoes, or you know, something like that, or a jumper that I didn't need. And now it's littered with ideas. You know, I might not go back to some of them, but they have come up either when I've been listening to a podcast, I've been out walking, or I've just been listening to other people and I go, hold on a sec. And I'll go on my phone and I'll write a line or two down, and then I'll leave it, and I'll go back to it another day and go, that was bloody genius. Where'd that come from? So yeah, I've got a huge list of ideas that have happened just off the cuff that I've collected, and that's probably a better collection than I had before.
That's very cool. I'd love to sort of get a little bit actionable as we come to the last 5 or so minutes. So if we've got somebody that stayed with us either live now or they're going to watch this back, Chris, and they're thinking, don't know, minimalism, yeah, don't know. Actually, I quite like my stuff. Actually, I really like a job title is important to me. Like I don't know if there's really anything in this for me, to be honest, because I quite like my stuff. I quite like my job title. Is it just the case that for those people, this maybe is just not going to be for them? Or is there something in this for everybody? What's your sort of answer to that person?
Yeah, really interesting question. I think there is a bit of a myth that a minimalist view on life is not for everyone. Am I here to debunk it? Maybe, maybe not. There's something in your life right now that you want to do that you haven't done yet. And why is that? There's something in the way, whether that's go traveling, whether that's, get a promotion, change careers, spend more time with family, whatever that is. There's something that you want to do that you haven't done yet. And why haven't you done it yet? Not enough money, not enough time, not enough energy. There's stuff in the way. Sometimes that stuff you can get rid of. Even we talk about. I used to take the mick out of Marie Kondo, like the magic of tidying up and things like that. But if you've ever decluttered something before, you will find yourself feeling a lot lighter. When you spring clean, when you have a nice tidy up, things like that, you feel good, right? Imagine if you had that all the time. You'd be unstoppable. Imagine what you could achieve if you had all that stuff that was blocking your path gone. You could see everything a little bit clearer. You could think a bit clearer. You could be calmer in your own home. Sometimes when we look to, spend the most amount of time in the most expensive thing we've ever bought, and we fill it with a load of junk. It's a little bit counterintuitive, right? We're supposed to make our homes, homely, a place of calm. So if you haven't done that already, start doing it, and it will really impact your well-being. Then you'll start to become more creative. All of a sudden, you'll go, I feel like I've got more energy now, or I've got more time, or I sleep better. All these things have a huge knock-on effect. And I can only attest to my own story and helping others through that journey. From 2017 to where I am now. I was speaking to Mr. Cooper the other day about this. Never thought in a million years I'd be a published author. I never thought in a million years I'd do coaching for a living, full time, right? A job that I love. I never thought I'd be working 4 days a week. I've crafted all of this myself because I've had, the freedom in mind to do it, the bravery that's come up by getting rid of stuff that I thought I was really, really attached to, like all my golf gear that I never used. And that's the kind of deeper stuff that you see after you start decluttering, but the immediate rewards are there to grab hold of as well. Nice bit of space, a bit of calm, potentially even a little bit of cash. You could potentially give yourself a little pay rise. If you went up in your loft or went in your shed and had a look at all the stuff that you don't use and put it on eBay, because there's someone out there who needs your stuff. And rather than them going to a retailer for us to put more carbon in the world and produce another thing, let's reuse the stuff that we're not using and give it to someone who's going to use it. So the rewards can be very short term, and that could be enough for people. But if you keep going, you unlock the whole potential that you've had inside you for so long and do all the things you've ever wanted to do.
I love it. I'm going to bring this to life personally. And actually, when I read your book, it really made me smile because I was just like, oh my God, Chris is speaking to me here. So I, of course, used to live near Rich on the coast in Bournemouth. Thanks to Rich Cooper for connecting you and I in the first place. And the really fascinating thing when I moved back up here, because I'm up in Kent now in the UK, from Bournemouth on the south coast, is I had this really big debate with myself, Chris, around, do I get a lockup? We might want that stuff at some point. It's going to be worthwhile, like putting it into a lockup. It'll only be for 6 months. And then as I got closer and closer to the completion of the flat, I was like, there's no way I'm ever going to get half that stuff out of that lockup if I get it. Just no way. So I just had, as you said, the courage to go, hey, I'm just going to give a charity. Charity can take the lot. Let them take it all. Let them recycle it. Give it to someone that needs it more. Exactly as you said. Jackie and I now in our home, which is wonderful. This is the kicker. Clear head for me. Massive reduction in pressure that I went through with the move. And I got a note a couple of weeks ago that the charity made 1,200 quid on all the goods that would otherwise have just gone away. Just to bring to life for people, like my whole being was much lighter as I went through that process, and some other people benefited. So I just wanted to give you another real life example for anyone that might be watching us.
Brilliant. Well, what a fantastic example. Yeah, we've all got them, and if we connect the dots, we add so much value not to just our immediate surroundings and our immediate mental well-being and physical well-being, but to our neighbours, to our community, to our society and the environment as well. So all of that stuff, just by a couple of small activities, adds so much value all around. And so yeah, I encourage people, if you have a look around your home and there's things you've not used for so long, maybe it's time to let go and give it a new lease of life. And that's how much value you're adding back into the world if you do that.
That was one of my favourite sections of the book, the letting go bit. That hit hard. That one, that section hit hard. But look, we're at 31 minutes. I knew this would happen, Chris. Like, this is what happened. Flow state. So, less is progress. People, you can find Chris's website on the bottom. There's a second book coming. Super exciting. Anything else you want to leave up people with that might watch this back, Chris? Any invitations? How else can people work with you? What's the best? What's on offer from Chris Lovett?
Yeah, I'm pretty easily contactable. I mean, you can see, there's not many Chris Lovetts with.
Oh, we've got static Chris for a minute.
Organisations are available to come and speak to friends, to family. I'm available to do one-to-one coaching, to do group coaching. I'm doing a lot of talking about this at the moment. Go and get the book. That's the cheapest way you can engage with me. There it is, yeah. So I think it's probably only a tenner now. You can probably get the ebook version for like £5 now. Grab yourself a mentor. Cheap mentor that should spark some ideas for you. But yeah, if you want to work with me in real life, hit me up on LinkedIn. I'm all over Instagram and Twitter as well, and let's all discover a bit more of less.
Hey, what a lovely way to wrap up. Thanks, Rich. Thanks, Elise, for joining us, and thank you, Chris. This has been fun, man. So good to see you again. Good luck with everything. You're doing very, very important work, mate. Have a great weekend. And all of you, have a great weekend as and when you're watching this. And here's a little clip for people. If you want to find out what I'm up to, there's going to be a little 2-minute clip now. And oh, no, we can't let this go. Katie's just joined. Hello, Katie. Only caught the last 15 minutes, but very thought-provoking. I look forward to reading more of your book, Chris. Thanks for arranging, Gary. More than welcome, Katie. Thanks for joining us. This will be going, so this will actually be on YouTube as soon as we finish the broadcast. So you will be able to find the link. Also, you can find the whole conversation on my LinkedIn feed. So thanks, Katie, for joining us. Cheers, Rich. Cheers, Elise. Big hugs, Chris. Keep on doing your good stuff, my friend. And we'll keep in touch, yeah? Good luck, everyone. Take care. Are you someone that leads other human beings and knows in their body that there is a better, more healthy way to organize ourselves in the workplace, but we just don't find the time or just don't find the capacity to be able to reimagine what that could look and feel like? Or maybe you personally have suppressed feeling within the workplace. I did it for many, many years, based on childhood trauma. We don't always realize the power of the stories that we tell ourselves in our mind. And sometimes having third-party support to allow ourselves to think for ourselves, as ourselves, without any interruption, can be the key to unlocking so much potential, both within ourselves, but also in how we lead others. So I'm here, Gary Turner, as someone to offer that space to you as a thinking partner, on demand or over a fixed number of sessions. And should that be of interest to you, please do check out my Calendly link, and I'd love to have an exploratory conversation with you to see if we're a good fit. Until then, I hope you enjoy these insights from my previous podcast engagements.